Yeah, it's the real shape of the Earth. I saw it in a near-death experience. The surface is flat. And then you have this cone, but spiraling shape, kind of like the Fibonacci swirl. It's like very long, and it becomes more and more narrow. It's all one landmass. Kind of reminds me of like the barber, like how at the barber shop they had that spiraling thing. And the same thing how there's a snake spiraling around that one symbol, as well as basically the Christmas tree. You know, it's just basically flipped upside down. That's exactly what it looks like. I don't know if it's spinning, it could be. I don't remember exactly. It's been a little while. And that's basically the shape of it. It causes gravity as well because most of the mass is below. The sun is relatively free of that because it's made out of helium, which is lighter than air. So just like a balloon, it goes to a certain height and it just kind of stays there, if you know anything about flat Earth. But yeah, this is what's causing it. That's why the sun orbits around this center of mass. This also has everything to do with what I'm about to tell you as far as the cause of the pole shift. The pole shift is basically being caused by a shift in mass on the planet, like the center of mass. And because basically the pole, as you could tell, has to do with the center of mass, because the North Pole is right at the center of the planet, the center of mass. And this also relates to how the stars are shaped like a Christmas tree around Christmas time. Maybe it's just like an echo of the inner Earth, like reflecting above us. Who knows? You never know. It's a very deep world we live in, literally. And we have underworld beings and off-world beings that really don't care about what happens to the surface, that are from other worlds and from the underworld, so they're not going to be so much affected by the sun and the moon going haywire from these pole shifts, because they're both affected by where the pole is actually located at and centers of mass. And it's all like kind of energetic, so it's kind of like fluxing, and like the northern lights kind of like passing towards these locations of mass. But anyway, so that's why the sun, for example, will go north to south. As it's going north, it's melting, all that mass that's condensified, water as ice. That makes it more massive, but as it's melting, it becomes less mass. But at the same time, the other part of the other pole, the south, will be gaining mass. Will be, because it's becoming more cold there. And at the same time, this causes ozone holes. But all that's being messed up because, I'll just get basically to the point of it. What is causing this shift in mass is greed. It's greedy people, greedy off-world entities and multidimensional entities and underworld entities that are going to also use this to lower down the population to make people easier to control. And, for various other genocidal reasons, so that they can basically rebuild it in their image and get rid of the native inhabitants. And that's what they've been doing. They've been on a campaign to wipe out all the native people of the planet that have, histories that don't align up with their bullshit, their Babylonian bullshit. Anyways, that's a whole nother story. Let me get back to what I'm talking about. Basically what they're doing is they're mining the planet, and they're causing mass to be moved to places that it shouldn't be. I'll explain why mass is so important, that why it should be towards the center of the pie. If you know anything about the flat Earth, if you look at this object from above, it looks like a pie, and towards at the center is the North Pole. And then, the land mass, the majority of the mass is towards the center of that circle. It has its own circle at the center of that circle, if that makes any sense. If you already know what I'm talking about, I don't need to explain it. And that's what the sun, for the most part, rotates around. It goes more north and more south, depending on the mass being built by, basically the cold causing more, condensification. I don't know if that's even a word in your dictionary, but it makes sense to me, and I'm sure you understood what I was saying. So basically, for example, the North Pole started moving extremely fast towards basically Africa. Guess what? 160 years ago. And what did they start doing 160 years ago? They started to mine Africa. Oh, geez. Wouldn't that explain why the moon, not the moon, but the North Pole is going towards that location? Why they're expecting a mini ice age? And, the places in between the two, in between the normal North Pole and this place that is becoming like another North Pole because it's being hollowed out. I guess they have some rare minerals at the old North Pole or something, I don't know, but it seems to me that this is all intelligently designed by the people that built the pyramids in Egypt and the pyramids all over the planet, because these guys had it set up perfect where they had the equator. If you look at all those pyramids, they're all on the equator, all basically in the center of the planet, circling in a circle like an old equator. If you look this up, that's exactly where they positioned them. This is why the stars and all that basically rotate over top of those, those pyramids. And this is why those areas are typically pretty warm. That's the cause of the equator. And this has to do with basically the sun and mass and the unseen suns that are rotating around that mass. And the Egyptians knew this, or the ancient builders knew this. And these greedy bastards that are so out of line with nature, they're so evil, they don't even care, man. They're causing all kinds of disruptions in our planet now. It's so bad over in Africa, the magnetic field is so affected by all that mining that you can't even fly over there. This is probably what happened with the Bermuda Triangle as well. That they can't even go, and this is why probably on these other planets at the 19.5 degree position that you have all these anomalies. There's probably been these pirates. These intergalactic pirates have gone to probably all those worlds and mined those locations of all the minerals, all the heavy stuff, and caused these evil things to happen on those locations. There's always going to be those key locations, and this all just makes sense. But like I said, the magnetic field is so weak there. I'm pretty sure it's got to do with the ozone as well, that they don't even want people to fly over those areas because it could cause all kinds of weird things to happen. Look this up. I'm not bullshitting. This is all ABC shit. Once you know the truth, it's real simple. Doesn't need to be some half-an-hour video. I've already basically explained it. And this is why in the Pacific, it's just full of rare minerals and all that kind of stuff. That's why you got the Ring of Fire, because it's all being affected by all that. And, for example, in Hawaii, that's what they were trying to steal, all the riches of Hawaii. Like all this war with the World War II, and the Japanese, they were stealing people's riches and stuff. And that's why they're so wealthy right now. They're stealing all this gold and stuff. That's like the Nazis were stealing gold and stuff. There's a lot to it. And then like over in Cali, and then the Grand Canyon is just full of pyramids and stuff. And they're mining all this stuff. And that's why the Ring of Fire, like a lot of places like China and stuff, where they're taking all this gold. They're having all these odd little things happen with explosions and stuff. It's because the energy is like building in there and it's causing stuff to happen. Especially with how God has me do his outpouring spirit. That's what my birthday is about. There's actually been some recent improvements that I've been doing that have been they're going to cause some more dramatic effects. Like that's why you've been having these fireballs, and then that just happened in Cuba, and then another one in Venezuela. I could tell you more about that, but I don't want to give away too much. I don't want to I'll put this over here. So I can't tell you too much about it because nobody really, for the most part, pays attention to my channel. YouTube is just a fixed-ass carny game where only certain people are allowed to show certain things that are basically already well known, and then they don't give you any answers. They're all just shills. But channels like mine, especially mine, I'm like the most sensitive guy because like I'm basically the son of man, and like I've done things no one else could do, and then my channel just got barely up to 5,000 subscribers, and then they terminated it. Fulfilled the scripture of the witnessing for 3.5 years, and I'm not the first two witnesses. Like there was Martin Luther King, and then there was JFK. They killed both of them, and then you got me and Trump right now. It's always like that in the scene prophecy. There's one that's the king, and then there's one that's the high priest. But I'm like a lineage of David. I'm both. I'm the high priest and I'm a king. I got that bloodline. I'm both bloodlines mixed together. And yeah, there's a lot more to that, but yeah, like I said, like the Pacific, I predicted that would happen, that would be so effective, because I saw how Pacific seems to be related to, like, if you were to really understand how the shape of the earth is, and they're not really showing you what north to south is and what east to west is, you'd understand that the oceans are really all kind of connected, and they're not really showing you that. And they go north to south, the sun goes north to south, and then it goes to a portal, just like Enoch said, and then it kind of comes out on the other side, north to south again. And I proved that on my page. And this is also, there seems to be something like specifically focused around the Ring of Fire, though, because that's like a very important part of this whole real southern part. Like it's like the real southern part. Like it's just kind of like the lower edge of all the continents, and they're all really connected. Like at that point, the Pacific's a key part of it. Maybe just for energetics. Maybe just that's how it works, because energetics. So it's just like the Northern Lights. It will just like gravitate there and cause stuff to happen. Even though it's got this normal thing, but it's like being pulled over there just because a mass. You know what I mean? You see how that works? Real simple. And then the sun is also more massive. The Venus is more massive. It has stuff orbiting it. I predicted that Venus would evolve. It evolved into like this Phoenix thing. This is all related to all my prophecies and all this kind of stuff. It's a long story. And it has stuff orbiting it. I saw that it was just seemed to be affecting Hawaii specifically. And that's why that prophecy came true, where they said there'd be like year-long earthquakes, like over a decade or something like that, like really long. And that's been happening in Hawaii, and I predicted that would start, and it's like just been nonstop earthquakes there. And it's because it's gravitating all these massive things there, and it's all just like, it's out of balance. They got to fix its balance, otherwise everything's going to get really bad. And they don't care because they're underground, and I don't even think they would survive. It might be the off-world entities, the multi-dimensional entities that are doing this for corrupt reasons and stuff. But we have to get this back in balance. We have to get the mass. That's what those pyramids were. That's why they're made out of those heavy materials, was to get that mass there. And then in those pyramids, I'm pretty sure they go underground as well. And that's why we have so many underground cities all over the planet, because look how much mass is underground. Most of the mass is there. You guys don't know, like, we have so much living under us, it's not even funny. And they're highly intelligent, and we have to stop sleeping on them. I have to tell y'all a lot more about that, but that's a whole nother story. I'm gonna see how this goes as far as this video. This is already kind of long, but like, for example, in Hawaii, to let you know the kind of massive amounts of gold, is massively heavy things that are there. They have more gold there than if they were sold like the hundreds of like it's like thousands. I think it's like hundreds of thousands of tons of some stuff. Like, it's like ridiculous. You have to look it up. 700,000 tons of some shit. I did the calculations on it, and if they were to sell all that gold they had in just Hawaii, like, they would have more money than like the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers. They have like multi-trillion dollars. Like, it's ridiculous. And yeah, so like that's there, and then they actually, you look it up. There's guys that have found that Hawaii, the Pacific, is full of rare minerals. Like, it's the richest area full of rare minerals and all these heavy things that is mass, basically. and then the land masses are forming there as well. New land masses, proving my point, and it's being caused by the energy just building there. But the problem is it's getting all out of balance. We need to get things in balance. Back like, you know, circling, so the sun goes north to south, and it does that. Because it's not doing that, then we're gonna have this no balance. Like, you need the cold part to be either there or the edges. Because if it's not in those positions, then it's good, the sun's just gonna be moving all over the place. The cold is gonna be moving all over the place. Like, you got these polar vortexes happening, and that's not gonna work out. It's not gonna have a balance. It's not gonna go like a perfect up to down, in to out, perfectly balanced. It's just gonna be like chaos, and it's gonna get worse and worse, and you don't want that. That's just total devastation for the surface, and that's what the enemy wants. You guys, trust me, you're not wanting that. And this is really bad. Like, we're energy beings. This world is kind of like a distraction, but they can totally, like, it's still part of us, kind of. So, like, we have to be careful. Like, that's like what the Matrix is. They're basically sending these impulses, these electromagnetic interference pulses, or electro signals at us, and they're trying to override our natural signals that we're receiving from the world. And as a matrix, you see, to try to deceive us. And we're energetic beings. Even when you're dreaming, as long as your body's here, you know, as long as you're allowing them to put these signaling towers up everywhere, it's just like they live. We have to shut down these signaling towers, and you'll see how much better things get immediately. Because those things are mainly how they're sending these signals to do these, get their job done, like, and to force people to manipulate how they decode reality. There's a lot more to that, but in view it's just like what's going on the planet. And these underworld entities are a big problem. I'm pretty sure that's what they're worshiping. I'm pretty sure that's where most of the stuff's coming from. And I think what we are is we're in the inner ring, but there's like probably an outer ring on this thing, where there's like greater beings, like, you know, bigger beings, like how would I say, exponentially bigger beings. Like, if you go to the South Pole, for example, everything's exponential. And I'm pretty sure it's just like in the movies, like, where there's certain exponentially bigger beings that are from that outer ring. I wouldn't be surprised. But either way, they could be from inner Earth as well. You know what I mean? And then look at how exponential that is. You see what I'm saying? And this is why they give us the Fibonacci swirl. And that's right there. They put it right in our face. And even the Tower of Babylon was shaped like this. It's like they put it right in your face about what's really going on, because that's where they come from. They come from the inner Earth, so they know. But, you know, this is very serious. I've ascended the throne, and I ran into that fucking Leviathan. And before I even was led by God to realize that that's the Babylonian monster that has to do with these Anunnaki guys or whatever. And she was basically the female, the queen. It's just like in the Dark Souls game. She tried to stop me because I was sinning, and as I recently started to speed that up or whatever, she tried to stop me. And like, she was this big, like, all bone and all tendons. Her muscles were tendons, and she looked like just all pale, and she was like 20 foot tall, and she was after me, man. That's all I'm gonna say. It was really horrifying. And like, I knew this had to do with these underworld beings, and I was like, that's probably the Leviathan, because that's the most powerful being enemy I've ever encountered. Besides some of these other guys when I was a little bit more on the point, where I just kind of ended them with a fireball. And like, you know, this is probably gonna sound crazy, but this is why I do. Like, this is really real. But like, this is a whole nother story. And when I'm trying to get y'all aware, like, for example, Jade Helm was all over these underground caverns where these creatures live, and they've been sectioning all that stuff off. And this is why they're trying to keep us from growing too much, because it would be a threat to those things. Those things are what they worship. They want those to keep control, and so that they can have food sources. And if we get too much food, then it'll be harder for them. Like, we're thinking, oh yeah, it's all this country land, all this open land. Why don't we just go there and grow food? Yeah, like, that's true, but those creatures live there. They live in those places. Like, in those places where most people don't go. And they gotta, like, section off. And the supernatural, they're very intelligent, so you're gonna have a hard time capturing them and stuff. But yeah, that's pretty much causing a pole shift is basically them mining Africa and mining places, and then we have to stop fracking as well. Fracking is also a problem because it's causing energetic problems just like we're having energetic problems like over Africa. You can't even fly over there, like just like the Bermuda Triangle and all these kind of things, where it's causing energetic problems, and that's why these fracking things are causing sinkholes, and maybe it'll cause the surface to not be stable, and maybe it'll cause eventually the mud flood to happen again, and then they're just going to build over it again and take our cities and make it their cities or something. I don't know, it's crazy as hell, and we need to get like on top of this, because those giants are fucking deadly. And imagine them with the high-tech armor and weapons and stuff. They'll just be charging you and shooting them, but they got armor on them, and even if they didn't have their armor, they'd be eating those bullets like it's nothing for the most part. I'm serious, like, it's not no joke. I mean, we have to really take this seriously, and that's why they're building all these underground bunkers to survive this stuff that's going to happen to the surface. Plus, they have our foreign armies in those bunkers and all that kind of stuff ready to just, you know, if you guys ever just, like, decide to come after them. And then a lot of the guys that we're seeing on the surface are actually not even really them. They're living under the bunkers, and they're using clones and all this kind of stuff. There's no joke. And that's why a lot of them are malfunctioning, because this energetic war that we got going on between them and God and all this kind of stuff, the saints and all this kind of stuff going on. And I'm basically at the center of this. I wish you guys would actually just fucking, you know, hear me and spread this, so more people come here, and because I have answers, I have solutions, you know. And I'm not afraid of death, so, you know, that's what's up. Bring him here, and, you know, get him fed, man, because I got the words. I got the words of eternal life, man. I'll talk to you later. Yeah, right around when we had that most recent polar vortex with the negative 50 wind chill, you know, basically like temperatures like Mars and stuff like that. When that happened, I had a dream about 5 moons of all different colors. The one that stuck out the most to me was the green one. I don't remember exactly the other one. The colors of the other ones I was kind of like frightened. And I basically tried to shrink them, and then when I shrunk them, it turned into crescent moons. And it didn't seem to cause too much destruction, but yeah, obviously that was like a sign to me. And later on, I realized how it's like kind of causing some of that, so I basically cut that out, and I cut temperatures down immediately. But you know, these guys, they seem to be trying to like make this disaster like even worse. So like, even though I did that, they were still trying to cause snow to reach places it shouldn't. And as a result, you have places like, just like here, it was warm when they happened. When it happened, like, but it was still sticking. The snow was sticking. I realized it was chemical ice nucleation snow, and I was gonna burn it, but I saw like this guy post this video, and I was like, oh, okay. Not just here. So, you know, they're getting exposed. Like, I basically pulled the rug from under them and exposed their balls to get, you know, stomped on. Because, you know, they kept trying to, you know, push this bullshit, thinking that, you know, the cold that I was causing to, you know, be a little bit amplified would be there. And they'd be able to work with it as an energetic thing. But no, they got exposed. So this is also a result of the, you know, like the polar shifting and all that kind of stuff, and the polar vortexes. You could tell from the way those people were dressed, it wasn't supposed to be happening there, you know. They got crops growing. And then here, you got, like the Bible said, that there would be a talent-sized hail. A talent is as heavy as a man can carry. I know a lot of people thought that would never happen. But yeah, here you go. That's what happens when I don't hold back. But, yeah, I mean, a guy can't even carry. Let me put that break. But, yeah, I mean, we just had the sun turn to darkness, a solar eclipse. And then right after that, we had a blood moon. That was all related to me. Then you got these fireballs falling, like untimely figs. This ain't the first time I've done it. It just ain't stopping me. Just the world's gonna have to adapt. But we have to fix this unnatural bullshit they're causing, man. According to some ancient cultures, the moon didn't used to exist. Did you know that? And before that, it was just like the days of before Noah, where everything was perfect, and we had what the scientists already proved was like perfect weather, and all that frozen ice that is now being dragged down by the moon was instead used to create a canopy. You see how they've been lying to you? Doesn't that make sense though? That canopy was basically dragged down by the and turned into ice because of the moon. The moon creates cold. You don't know that? Oh, too bad. There's no surprise why it was a super moon right around that super cold as polar vortex was doing. That dream about it, like I said. It used to be a solar calendar, not a lunar calendar. La calendar. Man, I'm telling you, it's lying your ass about a lot of stuff, man. Anyway, so yeah, we're basically the light, you know, that's why in heaven there's not going to be any need for the sun. And the weather will be moderated. Don't worry though, you know, I'm here. I'm keeping an eye on this shit. I'm doing what I can. But for now, just building our power, growing us up as the Son of Righteousness said it would. Keep thinking it's a joke, man. That's all I'm saying. Got them underworld creatures, you got all kinds of creatures. We got AI, we got Matrix movies based around me. It's cool though. But yeah, that's the cause of the polar vortex, or the pole shift. That's the cause of that, and not natural at all. We have to keep this under control, otherwise we're gonna have some freaky ass stuff happen. Like, seriously. This is all a logical world. Just shit doesn't magically happen. You guys gotta stop fucking letting this stuff happen. You gotta do everything you can to stop it. Bring people to my channel because nobody else has answers. Man. Nobody's gonna tell you the truth because they're a whole bunch of damn shills, including this guy. He's just fucking recording, like all he's doing is putting up other people's videos, man. The videos are already there. He's here to keep you from seeing the fucking truth, man. I'm telling you. I remember this guy, he popped up out of nowhere. Look at all these goddamn subscribers. You think they would let his ass stay up if he was fucking real? Yeah, no clue.